live. I didn't schedule it or anything like that. Maybe some of you guys are listening. Maybe some of you guys are not. Shout out to whoever's up right now. Once again, like, share, subscribe, hit that super chat. And I thought it was important to explain why Mr. Z is part of the Black Manosphere, and why I say some of the things I say, and why I sound the way I sound. First, there's camaraderie with other black men. Um, you know, having those type of conversations with black men from around the country and, quite frankly, from around the world. Um, then the other reason why I'm in this space is because of some of the experiences that I've had similar to other black men with primarily black women, right? Um, and so yeah, it it's pretty interesting, talking to different black men about our experiences with black women. Um, some of us, college educated, some of us not. Us, for those of us that are blue collar or white collar, right? Um, and we just have these different experiences with primarily black women, and it's interesting, right? So much of the reason why I'm here is, although I'm in a relationship, I do know what it is like to be in the dating scene, right? And I do know what it's like to interact with the opposite sex, primarily black women, and the society essentially assuming all interactions between black men and black women, somehow black men are trying to get over on the black woman, or we're ill-intentioned, or we're somehow some sexist pig plotting on her. It's always some type of weird negative, connotation, right? There's always some negative relationship going on. And are you guys in here? And do I have anybody in here? No, I don't really. Okay, but yeah, so much of the reason why I entered the Black Manosphere, that I'm on different panels, um, it's because this is pretty much have grown into a family in many ways for Mr. Z. And I like to have to speak politics, to talk about women, to talk about cars and sports and social issues, and see where other people are, right? And yes, I'm in the car for those of you that hear my turn signal going off. But yeah, so you have these different experiences as black men, and only other black men really know what you're speaking about, right? The only other black men really know what you're going through as black men, right? And there are certain human characteristics that are universal. There are certain human experiences that are universal, but many of them are not, right? And when you're part of a particular group and you experience things as this prescribed group, you know exactly why this person spoke to you the way they did, or why this person sassed you the way they did, or why this person is looking at you the way they are. And other people get to play that shit off. They get to act like it's not that big of a deal. They get to act like it's not about race. They get to act like it's not about a number of things, right? And it is, right? So the reason why Mr. Z is in this space is because of those type of experiences. And I'm tired of black men being gaslit, right? By the dominant society, by black women, by non-black people, right? By these institutions, both corporate and the education and entertainment, just gaslighting black men about their experiences, right? Um, and as we was speaking about last night, with reviewing Dr. Hassan's video of the young lady, she was gaslighting black men in that video, right? Because somehow it still got back to, it's black men's fault. Black men emote wrong, right? And much of the reason why I'm in this space is because of stuff like that. Like, you're trying to tell me it's always black men? When black men interact with black women, it's always black men who come out in the wrong? Because that's essentially what black women are saying to black men. Somehow, some way, you're always in the wrong. You're expressing yourself wrong, you're moving wrong, you're speaking wrong, your facial expressions are wrong, right? You were born wrong. You're a deficient black woman. That's your problem. You need to talk like us, move like us, think like us, act like us. Right? It's just way, it can't be. There's no way there's some 40 odd million black men and women in the country, and all interactions between us, somehow black men are in the wrong. That's just like numerically impossible, right? So statistically impossible. So that's much of the reason why I'm in this space. It's because growing up, born in the 80s as a 90s kid, I got all of those same messages, right, that other black young men got, right? The waiting to excel messages, right? And that movie, for Gen Xers and boomers, it was The Color Purple. And I did watch The Color Purple too. But for many of us as millennials, it was Waiting to Excel, right? That was it. It was the No Scrubs. It was the Can You Pay My Bills, right? And that was mildly, because it was, I'm gonna use the word traumatic, but I don't mean it in some grandiose way. I'm gonna say mildly traumatic, right? For young men, because you're in your early teens, you're in your pre-teens, you know, you're 9 years old, you're 8 years old, and the girls and the women around you are celebrating this type of imagery, showing black men as essentially monsters, right? You know, like, share, and subscribe. Morning crew, what's up? Hit that super chat if y'all don't mind. But yeah, so like that mildly traumatic experience, and now that many of us are in our 30s, maybe late 20s, and we're having these conversations, people act like we're making this stuff up, like we don't know what we're talking about, right? We know what we're talking about, right? And I think that's the insult. The insult is that you don't know what you're talking about, or maybe you know what you're talking about, but you're just saying it wrong. You're expressing yourself wrong because these people assume that they, and the way they express themselves is the right way. You're toxic. The way you speak is toxic. It's aggressive. It's intimidating. It's, you know, you're putting on all type of things, right? So that's much of the reason why I'm in this space. Like I said, the camaraderie and the brotherhood, but also to be another voice for black men who don't hate black women, who actually love black women and would rather be in a relationship with black women, with a black woman. But at the same time, we're tired of this very verbose way of essentially black women saying black men ain't ish, right? And like bow to me, because it is a power game. We have to stop speaking about the relationship between men and women, primarily black men and black women, like the men are seeking power to abuse and dominate, you know, and they get off on that. That's how they feel a sense of humanity, and that's how they feel a sense of manhood. But the women, on the other hand, don't want any of that. Women just want love and justice and kindness and fairness, right? And to be treated as equal partners in a relationship or in overall society, right? That we need to stop having the conversation like that, because it completely skews the conversation. It's not genuine. It's not honest. It's not honest when we act like men are monsters and women are like Mr. Z always says, these innocent creatures that wouldn't harm a fly until a man comes and destroys their life. That just makes no sense, right? And that's how we speak about this is how we speak about relationships in the black community. And for decades, we've had clergy, we've had mass media, we've had all of our institutions, our academic institutions push that message, And I'm perfectly okay with being another voice to say no more. And if y'all really want to continue to push that, have fun watching your daughters die alone. Oops. Because that weird ass verbal abuse, and I want to coin the term of like media portrayal abuse. I don't know how that I would go about that, but some type of like just continuously painting black men as these monsters, and like telling them like that they need to accept that they are these monsters, which is what we've been doing, right? No more, right? No more trotting out your black male feminists to badger us about how we're not showing up for black women the way black women need to be shown up for, right? No more of using these women that you know despise black men and making them your executive producers or your writers or somebody in the back, you know, and behind the scenes, you know, being script writers or whatever the hell, just really destroying black men all over media, doing the bidding of white racist liberals and sometimes white racist conservatives, right? No more of that, right? And that's why I'm in this space, because I want to be able to articulate these things and show like I don't hate black women. I'm in a relationship with a black woman. I only date black women, right? And I think that's one of the things that's being said about us that I really want to dispel also, is this notion of like, if you're in this space, it's because you hate black women, right? Or you've had some really traumatic experience. And many of us, we have had really traumatic experiences with black women, but we don't hate black women, right? And you will find far less of us sounding the way black women sound, because I don't hear too many black men talking about aborting black daughters or, you know, punching a black woman in the stomach if she tells you she's pregnant with your child. Like, who speaks like that? But, you know, we found ways to excuse that on the women's side of the game, right? We found ways to excuse them advocating for aborting black sons, right? That happened. The celebration of Kevin Samuels' death, that happened, right? They're saying, oh, it's an irony he died alone, when the man didn't die alone. The man actually had fun the night before, wink, wink, giggity, right? The celebration of his death, that's what Mr. Z is speaking about. That's why I'm in this space. Because of things like that, right? Because of what Shaq said on the interview about essentially throwing his sons to the wolves as they get older, right? Which we know he doesn't necessarily mean it like that, but essentially babying his daughters. Well, for the lesser Shaqs of the world, the more middle class and working poor and working class Shaqs of the world who do similar things in their own, you know, way, we have to date their daughters are who we date. All right? You want to know why you're running into these women who dad was a part of their life, who uncles were a part of their life, and they're insufferable still? It's because they had Shaq as a dad. Right? They had Shaq as a dad. They had women they had fathers, they had men as fathers who babied them, who essentially let them get away with anything, with murder, who also felt it was some type of weird cosmic justice, right? To let your daughter speak to your son all type of crazy, to let your daughter sass you all type of crazy when she got in her teens, right? Now she's dating men that's not trying to hear none of that. Which is funny because like black men are raised to be able to eat the sass. But many of your Gen Z is like, yeah, they're over it. They're over it, right? Yeah. So that's why I'm in this space, you know. And I want to make it very clear because, I know we have FD listening in to us. I know, maybe we have some other people. I did call out a lot of people on one of my previous videos. A couple of people I didn't. I didn't call out Julesy, but I did call out Nappy Headed Jojoba, Fab Socialism, T Noir. There was a couple of people I called out. And Stefco, Kim from Fort Harriet. Neither one of them, I think, listen to me, but still, right? Because it's not just and this is the thing that irritates Mr. Z to no end, and I can't believe I almost forgot to say this. The notion that everything black women say or do is always as a response to some misbehavior from black men. This is kind of where Nappy Headed Jojoba went with her video about divestment versus pick me, right? And this is kind of Stefco kind of plays in this area a little bit, right? Julesy kind of insinuated this a little bit in her video about black women in luxury, and she's kind of insinuated it a few times before. Kim from Fort Harriet kind of spoke to this a little bit. This idea that like black women only respond negatively to black men. It's never black girls and black women never initiate anything negative. And if FD Signifier ever comes across this video, he'll remember me saying this in a previous video. And that notion allows for black women to do and say all type of foul crap, because all they have to do is just say, well, you did it first. I'm only responding. I'm only reacting to you. And it's a bunch of crap, right? How much can you get? It's like when you fight in middle school or something like that, and the counselor or the teacher asks who hit first. So black women act like they're still in that position, so they're always, oh, he hit first. Y'all said this first. And I guess that's their way of trying to excuse their behavior, right? And they say all type of foul stuff, right? They act like, well, tell me Sotomayor said this. Y'all let him get away with that, so now we could talk all type of crazy. Y'all should have got Tommy Sotomayor together 3, 4, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, right? Because they got their little feelings hurt by Kevin Samuels. We should have did something to Kevin Samuels, and because we didn't do something to Kevin Samuels, now they think they could say, oh, abort black sons. That's their response to their hurt feelings from Kevin Samuels, right? Or David Carroll, right? That's where they are with it. Is it all black women? No, I don't even think it's the majority. This is part of where I kind of disagree with some of the brothers in this space. I think it's a loud minority. Now, it's a large minority, a loud, large minority, but I do not think it's the majority. I think the majority of black women is just doing whatever they want to do. And they don't necessarily hate black men. They might be angry at black men, but they don't hate black men. I think the majority of black women are just doing whatever they want to do, however they want to do it, whenever they want to do it. And they're just mad about the consequences when the consequences come. That's where the majority of black women play. And then you have the minority, a large minority, that do have an issue with black men because we haven't made black women upper middle class white women or rich white women, right? They just want to, what they want from black men is to essentially buy them out of all of the consequences for their actions. How can I say that differently? I have this $70,000 student loan debt. I'm 35, I still live with my mom, right? I drive this baby Benz I barely could afford, right? I work this kind of dead-end office job where I make $42,000, $45,000 a year, right? And I need a man to come and save me from all of this. Many black women, that's their issue. And that's why I'm in this space. To put words to that for the brothers that don't know, that when they gaslight you about, oh, you don't build and you what have y'all built, y'all are conquered. What they're really saying is, I'm trying to goad you into paying for all of this crap. Right? I need you to come and save me from this 70, 60, $50,000 student loan debt and this baby Benz or baby Beamer that I could barely afford and I'm paying $500, $600, $700 a month on, right? And to save me from my mom or my aunt house I've been living in, since I came back from school 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, right? I need you to save me from all of that. And that's a thing. And I want brothers to know, like, that's a thing. There are definitely black women that's their number one issue. And their pride won't let them tell you that. So they're just going to continue to chastise you with their weird ass version of protector provider, which really is the walking wallet over glorified guard dog, right? And I just want to be one of the more sane brothers to kind of put these things into perspective for some of us, right? Some of our sisters are socially awkward, weird, right? We talk about the socially awkward brothers ad nauseum. We talk about the childish Gambinos of the world, right? We talk about him, right? And his weird rap music and some of the things that he said, that's kind of like, right? But we don't often speak about like his female equivalent, right? People sticking fries in their noses or straws in their noses, whatever the hell Doja Cat was doing in that goddamn picture, right? Out here trying to use 17-year-olds to get at fully grown men. Weird. How many people called her out for that weird ass shit? What, right? That's just weird, bro. It's weird. But once again, that's why I'm in this space, to kind of put words to state the obvious. And I know sometimes Mr. Z comes up as Captain Obvious. I'm fully aware of that. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of my fucking schoolgirl giggle. I'm aware of it. And I'm going to state the obvious sometimes because it needs to be said. What will not happen around Mr. Z or my channel for any of the sisters that's snooping around, the plausible deniability, oh, y'all could kill that. Not while you're around me. Right? And that's why I'm in this space, because sometimes it needs to be said. And would you, and speaking about Kevin and many of us brothers in this space, another thing that a lot of women have a problem with men speaking in this kind of direct way is that we kind of strip them of plausible deniability in the future. We're taking away their ability to say, I didn't know 20 years from now. For many of us I'm speaking about those of us in our late 20s to just about 40. So about 27, 28 to about 40, 41, 42. And the next 15, 20 years, when some of these women don't have children, they've never been married, right? Or they do have one kid, but they've never been married. I mean, and I wanted to make a video of this. I'll just ramble about this. This is just going to be a ramble, right? We're just going to make this a ramble, right? Once again, like, share, subscribe, hit that super chat. I can't remember which video it was Kim from Fort Harriet was covering. And in her comments was women just giving their age and telling you they've never been in a real relationship. And we're talking about like 37-year-olds. 28-year-olds, 32-year-olds, 35-year-olds, telling you they haven't been in a relationship in 5 years, haven't had sex since how many years, never been in a relationship, and they're in their mid-30s. I don't know if these people realize it's like exercising a muscle, and that it might not be the men, you just might be socially awkward. And what can a grown man do with you if you don't know how to be in relationship with a man? Forget race for a second. You're a whole 37 years old. You've never been in a relationship. What can I possibly do with you at 42 years old? You don't even know man cues, right? That's why Mr. Z's in this space. First of all, glutton for punishment. I do be watching a lot of these swirler divester, black women in luxury channels. Um, a lot of the ones that critique, the overall black community or the overall society. And some of these sisters actually have really good points, as long as we're not talking about intimate relationships with black men, right? As long as they're not talking about that, they actually have really interesting perspectives and things to say. Once we start talking about intimate relationships primarily with black men, all of that go to crap, right? But once again, I found that interesting. Oh, that's what she was covering. Kim from For Harriet, let me say it right. Kim from For Harriet was covering apparently an interview I think Kevin Hart did about relationship or about his wife or something like that recently, and her perspective was like, y'all are not making it look good, y'all not making marriage look good or glamorous, or why would anybody want to get married or take your advice about marriage. I think that was her, if I'm not mistaken, her angle. And so what you found was a lot of women saying, I would rather be single. I like sleeping in my own bed. I've been sleeping in my own bed by myself for such and such years, right? I like spreading out in my bed. I've been, I haven't been in a relationship in how many years. I've never been in a relationship, and I'm this old, in my 30s or 20s. And I just thought that was sad. How much are you going to lie to yourself and pretend like you're happy? Wait, better yet, how much are you going to try to lie to other people? Right? Are you going to admit that y'all going to sleep at night crying with your vibrators in your hand? Like, I'm not making that up. I'm not just digging at you just to be funny. Haha, I know that's what y'all doing. Mr. Z's not on that. Y'all going to admit that? Or because it's easy to put on for some women on the internet that you don't know. Right? It's a whole different story when you turn off YouTube. And let's say you do have your own apartment, or you are with a roommate and you're going to sleep in that lonely, cold ass bed by yourself. That's a different story. Or you at your family's house because you can't afford to move out because you don't have no man. And none of your homegirls want to move in with you. If you want to know why Mr. Z's in this space, that's why I'm in this space. It's really sad. Some of the positions that black people find themselves in. Black women, namely. Yeah. It's let me okay, I finally came to a stop. Let me read Kevin C's comment. Black men didn't hit first. Men are merely reacting to negative and unfavorable conditions placed on them by both us, society, and their own women. Can't disagree with you there, Kevin C. I actually agree with you, not just, Yeah, man. And so that's why I occupy this space, right? Once again, it's not about hating black women. The majority of black men, at least that I'm coming in contact with, they want to be with black women. Even the SYSBM brothers talk about Africa and talk about the Caribbean and talk about Brazil. They're not talking about going to Europe. Y'all, am I the only one that peeped? Most of the brothers are not talking about going to East Asia or Europe. They're talking about going to places that are black or black adjacent. Right? Because black men still want to be in relationship with black women. And what you find is like ADOS men want to be in relationship with ADOS women, or some type of black woman that's experienced much of ADOS. So it'll be a ADOS man that marries an Americanized Jamaican woman, or a sister that was born here but her parents are from Jamaica, or her parents are from Haiti, or her parents are from Trinidad or Bahamas or something, right? So much of the critique of our space is false. It's just false, right? And on a side note, I guess I'll cover this now also. Um, FD Signifier responded to the video. Spain Man put out a really dope comment. Um, I made a screenshot of for those of you that didn't see, check my community tab. I made a screenshot once again. Oh, let me do this. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that super chat. I did a screenshot of FD Signifier responding to my video, and Spain Man, shout out to Spain Man, said something along the lines, if I'm not mistaken, of like, let me guess, he's gonna do a response video, and it's gonna be, or a documentary, and it's gonna be something along the lines of like, yeah, you guys have really good points, and I agree with you maybe here, here, and here, but everything else is wrong. Like your assessment of this stuff is wrong, or you're taking this the wrong way, blah blah blah. And FD Signifier responded to Spain Man by essentially saying something like, damn, you saw the video early. So essentially, that is what he's gonna do. Now, he might be being facetious, but I doubt it. I think that is exactly, and we already said that. Me, BGS, we called it out already. He is gonna do that. He's gonna agree with us. It's the sandwich, right? You give somebody a compliment, you beat their ass, and then you give them a compliment at the end, right? And he's gonna do that. He's going to say, you know what, you guys have a good point here. This is actually another good point there. I understand what you're saying here, but all of this is wrong in this middle part, the important part, where the meat and the salad and the tomatoes is, with the mayonnaise and the mustard, right? And then at the end, it's like, we have to do a better job at trying to understand black men, right? And this, once again, is much of the reason why, black men and other men really are becoming more and more apathetic, right? Towards a lot of things. And that, once again, because our society is telling them that they're not going along with this kind of new era of pronouns and fluid sexuality and non-binary gender, and where black men are too busy trying to be these weird white patriarchal men, that we're not actually going along with this new era of non-binary everything. And like I said in the previous video, you poll the women, and really, it's the women. It's the women. You go talk to some black LGBTQ in quiet, and what you find, I'm talking about black men, that's LGBTQ, and they'll tell you they've been around black women insulting straight black men that they know are straight black men with homophobic slurs. Go figure. Right? So that's my response to FD. It's, when are you gonna really address that? And be honest with the fact, because we can't make black women do anything, right? That's not the world we live in, right? Not overtly. My background is, oh no, it's not, oh wow, it didn't come this way. All right, yeah, a paramedic I thought was gonna pass by and it didn't. But yeah, so we have to be honest that many black men, if not most black men, were raised to be egalitarian. At best, if not raised by the gynocracy to actually adhere to the demands of black women, right? So at best egalitarian. And it's the women that's like, yeah, we didn't actually mean that shit. We just wanted to make fun of you, or we wanted to kind of gaslight you into not being like these kind of macho men, but we actually still want you to do everything and pay for everything. And save us from our own insecurities, and save us from our own inferiority complex. We actually wanted you to do that. Right? And we act like those men are making that up. And that was the beauty of Kevin Samuel's show, is that he showed that over and over again, just woman after woman after woman after woman. Educated, not educated, heavy set, more slim, light skin, dark skin, it didn't matter. Saying the same thing. So I wonder where FD Signifier, how he's going to respond to that. How will he respond to that is the question. And once again, that's why Mr. Z's in this space. Because I do think I occupy a space, once again, because I'm not ADOS, that's a plus or a minus depending on who you are. I don't hate black women. I date black women. I'm in a relationship with a black woman that I love, right? I think all of these things play a factor. I was once white collar, now I'm blue collar. I've been around enough non-black people, primarily, both non-black men and non-black women, to kind of get an idea of how they think and what they think primarily about black people, black men, black women. So that's why I'm in this space, to kind of impart some of this on other black people and kind of bounce my ideas off of other black men, to see where we agree, to see where I might be mistaken. I might want to reevaluate, right? And to see where I'm actually right. So yeah, that's why I occupy this space. That's why I'm in this space. And shout out to y'all for those of you that support me, that's been riding with Mr. Z from the beginning. Those of you that remember me from being on BGS's panels, Charles panels, definitely, obviously, the Roger Report, the Breakdown, Roguish channel, thank you for riding with me. But that's why I'm in this space. To speak to the FD, because, and I don't know why FD annoys me. FD doesn't annoy me. It's not FD. I don't know why I see that, like, the kind of overall situation is annoying. Because I'm like, why aren't you talking? Why don't you speak to Dr. T. Hassan Johnson? He would love to speak to you. Why don't you speak to Dr. Green Gorilla or Dr. Ron O'Neill? We have academics in this space for you to speak to. You're doing like an in run. You're running around them, and I think that's what drives me crazy. Speak to those brothers. You know they're not gonna come at you any kind of weird way. That's not even their style. They know what you know and more, right? Especially with Dr. Green Gorilla in philosophy. He's read the books you've read. Why don't you speak to those brothers? That's exactly the time. But instead of doing that, you're on Bad Faith Podcast. You're interviewing a different T Noir. I mean, you're speaking to Julesy, right? You got Crystal Ball from Breaking Points, formerly from The Hill, Rising, referencing you, right? But if you're going to assess black men, you're a black man, right? A heterosexual black man. If you're going to assess black men in this way, then why not speak to the academics in this space? That's why they're in this space. to someone be a liaison between people like you and us. And so it makes what you're doing, it comes off kind of shady. It comes off kind of shady, to be honest. You know, like, share, subscribe, hit that super chat button, you guys. But yeah, it comes off kind of shady. And am I the only one that sees that? Do any of y'all see that? Is that what y'all peep into? Like, it comes off kind of shady, you know? For those of you that listen to um BGS's video of the critique of FD Signifier, and I think Green Gorilla and Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, yeah, they actually did, because I listened to it. Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's why I'm in this space. That's my I rambled enough this morning, rambled y'all ear off, and I might start doing these more often. Y'all let me know in the live comments whether y'all like this kind of freestyle Mr. Z thing. Um, I think I'm gonna start reserving the videos, the kind of edited videos, for more like fact based, numbers dropping, history and stuff like that. And like these kind of freestyles, because I do have time in between, work and home when I'm driving to kind of do these things. And so y'all let me know what y'all think about that, and this might become more of a regular occurrence. I'm working on doing more, being able to kind of freestyle better, impromptu better, right? So, yeah. So yeah, that's more of that. This might become more of a regular occurrence. So I'm about to come to a close. Thank y'all for riding with me this morning. Like I said, the FD thing annoys me, and it's not him. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't think I'm stuck between whether I think FD Signifier is a bad faith actor or not. I don't think so, but I think he has an agenda. So, for those of you that think that he's kind of a black male feminist, and so it's going to skew him a certain direction, right? So he will concede certain points because, and this is the beauty of the Black Manosphere, we've been hammering points so much, and once again, the beauty of a lot of us that have actually interviewed women, especially on camera, they've shown their ass so much that it's made it impossible to ignore certain things. So we've made people have to concede points. They're not doing that shit just off of GP, right? They're not just doing that just to do it. We've made it impossible for them not to concede certain points, right? So, like I was saying, I don't know if I'm not gonna say he's a bad faith actor. Once again, I think he's one of the intersectional brothers, kind of maybe black feminist identified, and that skews his politics, and that's okay. That might actually be okay if you would actually talk to the academics in the space and engage with them, right? Engage with them. That's why they're here, right? Instead of talking to college dropouts like Mr. Z, right? Speak to the brothers that use the same words as you, right? The 4 and 5 syllable words, they can reference all the same books as you, right? Y'all will both go back about, well, Francois all said this. No, he said that, right? Well, Baldwin said this. No, he said that, right? Socrates said this. No, he said that, right? Y'all could do that together, right? So, yeah, I'll pause right here. I ain't gonna belabor the point too much. Shout out to y'all for being here. Oh crap! BJ said, "Why are these people in our space?" Oh, I just turned on the screen and I saw that. I don't know, BGS. Why are they? Why do you think they're in our space? Right? Why do you think they're in our space? You know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, uh, but I mean, I don't see it necessarily as a bad thing, really. You know, I don't see it as a bad thing per se, but I really don't know why they're in our space. Um, if they're just observing, I don't know if that's a bad thing. If they're spying and then taking it back to some um I don't know, group or organization, and look what the black men are saying over there. We gotta find a way to disband those people. I was saying this earlier too. Um, okay, snap, crackle, pop, finger snap, the black manosphere disappear. Now what? Okay, black manosphere disappear tomorrow. What? Your sons are not gonna have these experiences? FD signifier got a black. I think he at least has one black son. I think two. Right? What what ha- what happens when your son starts dating FD and sisters start talking to him all type of crazy, young sisters, right? 13, 14, 15 years old, right? I'm not saying they are, but most likely. What what happens? Ooh, and you know this is gonna chap your wife's ass. What happens when your son brings home a Latina or a white girl? And I'm saying that as a brother that only dates black women. What happens when your son brings one of them home and you know why he brought them home? Now what? Right? You're gonna ask him to articulate himself? You know why. Right? And I think a lot of brothers in his position find themselves in that position. They're married. They're married to a black woman, right? They made sure their children went to pretty good schools, and then their son or their daughter comes home. Their son primarily comes home with the white girl, with a Latina, maybe even an Asian, right? And then what? Until we start speaking about black male and black female relationships like it's a one-to-one, and it's not just at least a one-to-one. Actually, it's really not, but at least a one-to-one. It's not black men wake. We speak about the black community like black men come home from a long day of work. I thought we weren't in the homes, but black men come home from a long day of work. We don't see the meatloaf on the table, and we go to beating up everybody in the house. That's how we speak about black men in the black community. We come home from a long day of work. Wait, I said that wrong. Sorry. We come home from working, even though we don't have jobs, but whatever. We stop by, cheat on our wife with a woman, then we go and cheat on our wife with a dude. Then we come home and don't see our meatloaf on the table, and then we go to beating up everyone, although we still don't live in that house. You see how some of these tropes contradict each other? By the way, I thought we didn't have jobs, but we come home from work. Um, we don't have a car, but we're somehow able to drive around and cheat on our wife or our girlfriend, with another woman and another dude because we secretly on the DL. Um, then we come home. Once again, we don't live in the house, so I don't know how we're coming to a home with our wife or girlfriend and our kids. Then we don't see food on the table. I don't know how there's food on the table when we can't afford it. I guess she bought it. Um, and then we beat up on our kids, um, and beat up on our women, and chastise our son for not being manly enough. Um, all of these weird tropes, right? All of these weird tropes. Indigo said, "Nah, we're driving some woman's car." Right? Exactly. I don't know how we're driving it when it don't got gas because we ain't put gas in it though, because we don't got no money, right? Make no sense, but whatever. Because black men are walking around here as a mixture of Baby Boy with Angela Bassett's husband off of Waiting to Excel, with a mixture of Ike Turner, with a mixture of like Janet's husband off of whatever movie that was where he was secretly on the DL. We're like a mixture of that. What movie was that? Was that Four Color Girls? I think that was Four Color Girls. When Buddy Rose was secretly on the DL. We're a mixture of all of that. Oh yeah, throwing Jungle Fever in there too. Right? Weird. But anyway, let me stop rambling, y'all. Thanks for riding with me. I'm gonna pause right here. Shout out to the morning crew. Shout out to you, Namer. Shout out to Indigo. Shout out to King Combo. Shout out to Kevin C. Right. Shout out to Sir Anthony, BGS. Thanks for stopping by. Shout out to all of you. And who else? Anyone I missed? Let me scroll up. I'm trying to make sure. Trey, shout out to you. No one, shout out to you. Jay Locke, shout out to you. Charles Finney, D. Scott, John Jones. Yeah, let me make sure I got everybody. Free Will Defender, Pragmatic Prime. I think I got all of you guys. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Be Anon, I see you just popped up. Shout out to you. So yeah, shout out to everybody. And I'll pause right here. And like I said, I'm gonna try to make these more common. And I'm gonna try to save these two because eventually YouTube's gonna come after me and try to delete all my shit. So I'm gonna try to download all my lives, all my videos, so that when they eventually delete my stuff, yeah, I'm gonna still have the stuff saved up. And I'll pause right here for real. Thanks everybody. Mr. Z out.